Peas on Moss is brought to you by Kimberly Schaub, a culinary scientist turned business developer. Over the past 4 years, the audience has downloaded episodes over 40,000 times, and we have 1,500 impressions across the website and a host of social media platforms. Will you consider contributing to the show to help keep it on air? Donations through Patreon help to offset the cost of web hosting, editing, and producing the various Peas on Moss offerings, from podcast episodes to videos, and every little bit helps. From corporate advertisement to sponsored content and private contributions. Reach out to me on peasonmoss.com for details. Hi, Peas on Moss listeners. Kimberly Schaub here. Welcome to a new Quick Bite episode focused all on food product development and the professionals who bring you incredible food to your plate and your grocery store shelves. This week, I'm talking about mentorship with Chef Mark Floerke, whom I know through the Research Chefs Association. A mentor friend of mine and someone whose mission in life is apparently to give away knowledge to help us all improve our baking skills, whether or not we use them professionally. Chef Mark shared some of his time with us to talk about his observations for successful mentorship, which he attributes his success and correctly identifies as one of his superpowers. Mark Floerke is a classically trained pastry chef who trained in Germany and along the way made the jump to R&D and food science. After 44 years in the food industry, Mark has collected a very broad range of experiences from retail pastry shop and cafe, catering companies, convention centers, restaurants, hotels, resorts, to corporate technical support and research. He has recently retired from ADM after 25 years, with the past 10 years in ingredient application research and a side gig as a community college instructor in culinary arts. Mark now fills his time as the community manager for Bakerpedia Bakery Forum online at bakerpedia.com, and of course is still baking and cooking more creative ideas at home. I'm excited to have you listen in on Mark's observations about mentorship, career building, and the importance of a close network to help us work through challenges. Let's talk a little bit about being a mentor. We talk a lot to young people about finding a mentor and all of those things, but let's flip the tables around a little. And for us being mentors, how much time does it take to speak into someone's life?
Generally, I have found it depends. Some of it depends on circumstances. Okay, like I didn't realize until my retirement dinner. Really, I wasn't clearly aware. Let's put it that way. I knew I was mentoring some of my colleagues, but I didn't realize how big of an impact that I had on them, and how much I had been doing it. Simply the people that I was working with every day at work in our facility at ADM. And it was quite shocking to me to have people go around the table telling me all one by one how they remembered when they first met me, and how I helped encourage them to do this and to do that, and how it brought them all to this situation where we are now. And so a lot of times it doesn't take a lot. It's not as much as we sometimes make ourselves think it to be. It can be just being willing to listen and provide a little bit of advice, so that if somebody is having a rough day, that you're able to say, yeah, I can talk now, or like, now's not a good time. Is it okay that maybe we could talk tonight or tomorrow or something like that? And, it's usually not a life and death suicide thing, I hope. But, something that you can give, that you have a sense that there's somebody there to listen. And some of the other mentoring that I've done online for high school kids is it's been so much fun. And I volunteered to continue doing it through my retirement. And it basically takes about, in my situation, probably takes me about an hour once a week during the school year, from about September, October through till about February. And so there's a Chicago Ag High School in Chicago where the students are immersed in agricultural sciences, and they actually have an operating farm as part of the school. And so they learn everything from having to look after the farm, as far as the cows that they have, the pigs, everything, the wool from the llama, all of the goods that they're growing and harvesting, and building the stands to be able to sell it, being able to cost it, and also doing some food science with these things, or other types of science, food related science projects. And so then I usually mentor through three students, each with their own project, online through a unique called Mentor Matching Engine. And so that basically they present their project, and what they intend to do and how they're going to accomplish it. And you just spend a little time writing them back, and coaching them with ideas as to what they need to be considering. You're not doing the work for them. You're not there. You're not a helicopter parent or anything like that. You're basically their coach, and helping them along. And I was fortunate, this year in February. My wife and I went back to Decatur for a visit to see our good friends, and we made a stop in Chicago for an extra day because she wanted to go shopping. and and so while she went shopping, I went over to the high school, and I got to meet my students, my mentees, in person. And they were just thrilled. I mean, they were so excited to show me their project and what they accomplished and everything. And it's hugely rewarding to be able to see that, and to see how much you light up their world, when you're able to, share a good word and give them a little bit of encouragement and things. So it's not like it takes hours or days, or a lot of involvement, and you don't need to buy plane tickets or things like that. It's just being able to listen, and give them honest advice, and give them kudos when they deserve it.
And I think I'll add that we don't need to have an absolute subject matter expertise in career
Mm-hmm.
management, for example.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
I, being alive, being an adult, fully baked, and mostly not insane, is really the only requirement, I think.
Yeah, and companies are changing so fast, that when you within the companies that you work in, you even want to find some mentors, some people, and you don't necessarily have to formalize the relationship, but you want to maybe latch on to someone that you look up to, who can help guide you, right? If you think you're going to be asking them a lot, then you just ask them, like, hey, do you mind if I come see you once a week and we have a chat for 15 minutes? And most people, executives or otherwise, are going to say yes. And it's like, we'll put it onto my calendar, or something, right? And they love for people to be engaged. And you will be surprised how much of an audience you can get with that. That if somebody who's a manager or an executive or a VP or something like that, and you see something that you want to learn from them, and you ask them for some time, either once a week or once a month or something like that, I swear, in 99 out of 100 cases, they're going to give it to you. And that's kind of what their job is too, as an executive, is to help mentor people too.
Absolutely. I think uh, I've found that I have had some individuals ask me about being a mentor, and the feedback I would give to those who are thinking of reaching out to professionals about being mentored is not necessarily to come with 400 questions that you'd like to have answered, but maybe
Mm-hmm.
one or two questions that are somewhat softballs that you're fairly certain the person on the other end of the line is going to be comfortable answering. Um,
Yeah.
with this podcast, I've had the unique opportunity to be able to dig into someone's life and career, um, and have them share in the wisdom that is dropped while you're describing your journey just cannot be missed, cannot be dismissed too quickly. And so for me, it's been asking you and others.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get here, and what was that one thing that you might have changed that in the end opened a completely different door for you? Um, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that type of question is the best way to ask someone for mentorship, or to be a mentor, um, so that it doesn't feel like this open-ended, oh my gosh, have I now been asked to write a curriculum of my life as though I'm writing a book about how to do this well.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that, when looking to a mentor is a guide. He or she is not going to be um, your university professor giving you an answer to a question. um, so that like even some of the conversations you and I have had and things like that is like, I don't know much about your job or your situation or things like that, but I would just offer my opinion on things that you could ask about or look into. And that's kind of what we do as mentors at times, is just help guide people. Kind of, well, could you be looking into this, could you be asking these questions, and so that to ask somebody to be your mentor, to be able to provide you with the answers, is not a mentor. That's just somebody who's helping giving you
Mhm.
textbooks cheats.
Or that's a consultant.
Yeah, exactly. Our consultant, exactly. Yeah. And I mean, that doesn't mean we don't provide any answers. I mean, there's been friends and colleagues through RCA who have made some slight career changes or things, and have written me and asked me for some help or formulas and things like that. And I gladly share them. And I also gladly help point them in the right direction. Some of that also is learning as a mentor to hold back a little bit and not give them all of the answers, because you may not know all of what they're dealing with, and you might lead them down the wrong direction too. So give them enough that they have enough ammunition to figure out the rest or do the research for themselves, and then they also have a greater sense of accomplishment and under a feeling that they can do it on their own, so that it's not something that they feel like they always have to ask somebody else for an answer, right? Uh, One of my mentors in the Pastry Chefs Guild. And it was basically just an older, experienced, retired gentleman who is somebody that I could talk to, that I could just bounce ideas off of and get his opinion, get his point of view. And that helped guide me as to, how to speak to some of the other members and things like that, and how to deal with some of the more complex situations that were maybe a little politically sensitive or stuff like that, right? And so we there's lots of different mentoring in different ways, but a mentor isn't the answer. The mentor is helping you to find the answer. It's helping you kind of head down those roads that you don't want to go down sometimes.
I think the other piece too is, as we're colleagues or peers in the industry, is we cannot dismiss the value that a small positive word has in someone's life.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to your example about being called chef, yeah, it
Yep.
really, that little bit of updraft under our wings is sometimes all we really needed for that week or for that moment. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and that amount of mentorship and friendship really takes almost no time, as being part of your name, your title, or um, a sincere response, that you've given me in the past of, you're doing good. You're being smart. You're
Mm-hmm.
asking the right questions. You can find those answers. That type of encouragement, while doesn't solve all the problems, it gets me out of my funk and gets me moving. And
Mm-hmm.
that is so
Helps give you
valuable.
energy, because I mean, words can do an enormous amount of damage. And so why go that route? Why, there's, and some, we're talking about social media. I mentioned it earlier, but the negative side of social media is that it sometimes can be a lot of down-putting stuff going on. It takes so little, and it gives somebody an encouraging word, help guide them, and we all need that, and it really helps us go much further. And I've enjoyed the positivity of RCA in that sense. I mean, it's not a perfect association. None of them ever are. Uh, but they're the things that where I've heard people having concerns. They're not complainers and whiners who want to put people down. They express an concern about something, how they feel it could be done better or differently, and they generally take it to somebody on the board and to have it talked about and looked at. And that's why it's progressed so much too. And so it's the same thing how we can progress as individuals and as research chefs and professionals.
Thank you for joining the Peas on Moss podcast for this quick bite. We're offering shorter podcast episodes to get you the quick, pertinent information and to carry on with your high-performance work and working from home. Special thanks to our Patreon sponsors who are helping me offset the podcast costs this year. If you got some spare cash, I sure would appreciate the support. Go to the website peasonmoss.com for details. I'm also hosting monthly happy hour events for younger professionals in food product development, the RCA Hustlers Under 40. Please visit our website to join the mailing list for the next event. You can check out past recordings on YouTube as well. Just look for Peas on Moss. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you again soon.